A lot of people, though, they have a coach, but they're not winning.
They're not utilizing them correctly.
Yeah, they're not utilizing them correctly, or they don't even know how to be coached.
Just because you have a coach does not mean that you're automatically going to win.
Yeah, you gotta know how to be coached, how to utilize your coach, how to have a relationship with your coach, what that should look like, and what it means to actually be coachable and teachable, and the differences between those two things.
Let's get into it.
We had everything going against us.
Yeah, we were young. We were broke. We didn't know anything about business. We literally started from nothing.
We were never supposed to make it. So let's talk about how to be coached, because it's really amazing that sometimes there are people just crushing it. I mean, just doing so well. And they make it look really easy. And then you have people who make it look really hard, and both in anything, not just business and fitness and everything, but they make it look really hard, you know? And sometimes the people that make it look really hard, they try really hard and they just get nowhere. And so it just kind of like makes it look hard. And those two people have the same coach.
I think the difference is that the person who's having a really hard time is trying to do everything themselves their way. Versus the reason you have a coach is because they know how to get to where you want to be. And they will tell you, if you utilize them correctly, hey, you're going off course. Adjust this, change this, stick with what works, even if it's not working in that moment. And if you're wanting to get from point A to point B in the shortest amount of time, using a coach is the way to do it.
I also think you need to have a coach that's actually in your industry.
That's really important. Just because somebody's successful in your life doesn't mean that they would make a good coach for your business or for your health or for your faith.
Yeah, just because someone's a good, successful in some other business doesn't mean they're the right coach for your business. Like, I have one coach in business. Mm-hmm. That's it. One. There's a million coaches out there, but I got one. And I don't seek other coaches when it comes to my business or, you know, my life in business other than my coach, because my coach is at the top of what it is that I do. You know, when I tried to learn golf, I went out and I got a golf coach, right, who was a golf professional. And I said, hey, I want you to teach me how to be good at golf. You know, when I got serious about fitness, I went and got a fitness coach who's at the very top of that industry, one of the most respected in that industry, and said, I want you to teach me how to get fit. And so I think it's important to have the right coach, someone who's actually experienced, seasoned, and has proven results in exactly what it is you're trying to accomplish in that exact industry. But you could have all that and still not do well. You know, you could have all that and it still suck because you're not coached correctly. You don't have the right coaching mentality as a student. So what's the difference? Let's talk about the difference between being coachable and being teachable, and then go through a couple things on how to be coached.
Okay. So piggybacking on what you just said about your golf instructor, a willingness to be coached is so important, because you can go and get a golf instructor and they could tell you to adjust this or change that, but no, I know me and I know like how my body feels. I'm going to keep hitting like this.
Yeah, so willingness to coachable is first off a willingness to receive feedback, right? So it's being okay with having to change some things.
Versus being teachable is...
Well, teachable is having a desire to be hungry and a desire to learn, right? And we could talk about teachable too, but coachable is like you can't be coached if your ego's in the way. Mm-hmm. That's what the desire to learn or the desire to be okay with accepting feedback. It's a lot of times someone goes to their coach, or their coach just notices something and tells them, and then they say some stupid shit like, I feel like he's picking on me. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, like that's because you're not coachable. Is your ego's in the way? You know, the coach's job's to give feedback, because a coach stands on the sideline and watches the game, and the coach sees what you don't see, right? So the coach's job's to give feedback. The coach's job is to, when you call, well, let's talk through it. Let's figure out what's going on. But it's a willingness to accept feedback. Now, me as a coach, I actually kind of have a rule now. I don't really give feedback unless someone asks for it. Mm-hmm. For the simple fact that I think if you really wanted feedback, you would ask. You know, and you would be specific in what you want. So I don't know. I mean, to me, it's first a willingness to grow, you know, without taking things personally. And it doesn't have to mean you're wrong. It's just being able to accept feedback.
And that's a fair point. That's the key to actually we could stop this episode right there. And if you just listen to that, you know, ability to receive feedback, but because that'll completely change everything for you. But after that, you're like, okay, give it to me straight. Give me the feedback. What comes after that?
You got to have an ability to actually improve. That's part of being coachable. So I'm willing to accept feedback because I want it. That's the thing about when you're coachable, you want feedback. Mm-hmm. You want feedback. Like if I'm going to go out, you know, and play a round of golf, I'm going to first go spend 40 minutes with my golf instructor, because it's been a little while, and get some feedback so that when I go out there, I'm good. Mm-hmm. You know, and I just hate sucking at things. So like every single thing that I want to learn, that I want to get good at, I find the best person at that thing and I say, can you teach me? Mm-hmm. And that's coachable, right? A willingness to accept feedback. And then coachable is the ability to actually improve, which means I could apply the feedback and actually get better. You know, and then coachable is, at the end of the day, did you execute what you were taught?
Mm-hmm. Listening to it, understanding it is nothing if you don't put it into action.
Exactly.
Right?
Putting it into action. Mm-hmm. So that's part of how you're coached. If your coach has to convince you to change something, then you're not coachable. You know, the reason you have a coach is to prevent unnecessary mistakes, and it's also to get unstuck.
To save you time.
Save you heartache, save you energy, save you money. You know, and get unstuck. You know, when things start to not work, part of being coachable is being able to get redirected, right? Which is to have the self-awareness to go, okay, I think I'm stuck. It's amazing to me that people get stuck and then they start to lose and they stay in that position for 4 or 5 or 6 months. Before
saying anything. Before asking for help.
Where for me, right away, when I feel like something's not working, like I go, something's not working. I trust my gut, and I immediately get feedback. Like I'm not even stuck. I'm not even in a space long enough to be stuck. You know, I immediately get feedback.
Because you might be doing everything right.
Yeah.
And your coach will tell you that. They will confirm, yes, just keep doing what you're doing. You're going to get the results you want. Or, like he said, it could be something small that you tweak and then you're back on track.
It changes everything. Then it changes how you feel. Changes your confidence. You start to get some wins under your belt. Now you have a better energy. Now you're getting more wins and you're getting bigger wins. And the opposite is true. You know, you start to get a loss. You start to lose. You start to get frustrated. Your confidence goes down. You start not closing. Now you start to lose belief in yourself, and you start to wonder. You know, and it's just a spiral effect. I would rather be spiraling up than down.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now let's talk about teachable, because teachable is different than coachable. Mm-hmm. Teachable is a desire to learn and apply, right? So it's a desire to listen, learn, and apply. Okay. It's a hunger, a fire, an enthusiasm about listening and learning and applying, right? So coachable is like, you could coach me. You give me feedback. Tell me to change something. I'm all for it. I want to improve. I want to get better. Tell me what I'm doing wrong. Mm-hmm. Teachable is a fire to learn.
A
hunger. Yep.
So the goal is to be both of these things.
Yeah. And people go, well, is there one without the other? Yeah, there's one without the other. People are fired up to come to class, and then they don't effing listen.
They go, that was great. I took a lot of notes. Like, I took the best notes
But I got
ever.
it down already. I got it down.
Yeah, I got it. I know what I'm supposed to do. I just need to actually do
Right,
it.
and it's like, no, dumbass, I saw your numbers. You ain't got it down. You know what I mean? So, teachable is a desire. It's a desire to learn. Like, I'm so teachable. I love to learn. I wish I would have loved learning in school, but I didn't. But I love to learn. So, like, I get a topic. People have told me, you being one of them, like, man, you're good at everything. I don't think that's necessarily true, but I don't really do things that I'm not good at. And what I mean by that is that I will go study it and get good at it because it's not fun to suck at something.
Yes.
So when I first went golfing, I wasn't good, but then I went and I took lessons for like 8 weeks in a row.
Right. If we're about to play a game or something, a video game, if we're waiting in line, or he'll go to the restroom and like YouTube it.
Literally.
And just like play it.
Then I come out and I whoop some ass, and everyone's like, I thought it was your first time. I was like, it is my first time. But I was in the bathroom on YouTube figuring out how to do it before I came.
Learning the rules of the game and, what's the best way to score points, everything.
That's teachable, though.
Yes.
That's teachable.
That's the hunger. You want to learn.
Right.
You want to figure it out.
If I'm going to do something, I want to be good at it. And that's like, it's just not fun to go golfing and suck. It's just not fun to go bowling and suck. It's not fun to go to, watch a sports game and you don't even know anything about the game or who the players are. Or like I always research because then I appreciate and I understand and I get better. And that's what teachable is. It's a desire to show up to training. Like, man, I'm freaking fired up for training. Why are you fired up for training? Okay, I want to learn. I want to get good at this. I want to get rich. I want to do it fast. I want to be the best at what I do. Like, that's teachable. Not everyone's teachable, though. And so a lot of people struggle. And if they just broke down this episode, they go, man, well, first of all, the person with the ego problem probably can't even watch the episode and identify that they have an ego problem.
But they're thinking of other people.
Yeah, but they got a whole list of other people. They're like, yeah, this person. It's like, no,
sending
dude.
it to them, tagging them.
It's like, man, you're so not aware of yourself. And so someone could watch this and go, hey, yeah, you know what? I like coaching and feedback feel like an attack to someone when they're not in the right space to want to learn.
Which is why you mentioned that
Damn,
you
that
don't.
was deep.
Which is why you mentioned that you don't give feedback anymore unless someone asks you.
No, because I heard someone one time go, I always feel like he's picking on me. I'm like, well, no, what the hell? Are you serious right now? So you're serious. I wish they would have said it to me. Because I would have looked at them and said, are you freaking kidding me?
And you're picking on them.
Really? But that's what I mean, is coaching and feedback feels like an attack if you're not in the right headspace to learn. And you're not coachable. It feels like an attack. Like, if it's some outside person, then okay, that's another thing. But when it's your coach, when it's your actual coach that like is in business with you or overrides you, or you're paying them on a weekly basis to coach you, and then you don't listen, that's 100% on you. It's 100% on you. And then the teachable thing is, if you're not studying, if you're not fired up to come to training, if you're not excited to go to your lesson, if you're not excited to go to the gym, if you're not excited to come to class, if you're not excited to learn, then like, what the hell are you doing? Teachable is having a fire and a hunger and to discover and a willingness to learn and a willingness to grow. So teachable and coachable are very different. And I think they're two of the biggest things that people show up to training every day that are not coachable or teachable.
It's just a habit to show up.
The best thing they do is show up, but that's it. And I've seen people show up to the gym for years and they look exactly the same. They're still out of shape, they're still fat, or they're still scrawny, or they haven't changed, they haven't progressed in whatever direction they're trying to progress. But it's the same person that doesn't hire a trainer, won't, because they already know what they're doing because they've been going to the gym for 10 years. But it's like there's just this wall here that's holding you back of self-sabotage. So that's coachable and teachable. Now let's talk about a couple things. When you have a coach, How do you keep your coach in the right position? How do you keep your coach in the right capacity? Like, how do you keep the relationship where it's productive and benefits you?
I think the first thing that comes to mind is boundaries.
We're going to piss a lot of people off in this episode.
Is boundaries. That's what comes to mind, keeping them in the right capacity. So it's hard to coach someone when you are very close to them. I think sometimes, and it's hard to describe, but if you're out partying with your coach or with somebody you're coaching, or you're out drinking and they kind of see you in this different light, it's hard for people to take you seriously. It's hard for you to take your coach seriously. It's hard for you to really, when they say something, go, okay. I feel like there needs to be that separation where you almost feel like that positive, like peer pressure, like I need to produce some results because this person is investing time into me.
Yeah, you also can't have that holier than thou mentality about everything, right? Where you're so freaking judgmental, because like no one's perfect.
No.
And the closer you get to your coach, the more you see their flaws, right? Because we're all human, you know? And the problem with being the coach is that people carry expectations of you that they don't carry of themselves, which is bullshit, by the way. That they expect, you know, like I always say, don't judge people just because they sin differently than you do. But the reality is that like there's got to be a little bit of grace and understanding and distance in some capacity. And it's on both ends. It's also a willingness on the other side not to be that, well, I'm not going to listen to them anymore because they did, you know what I mean? Like, there's got to be, like, come on, man. The seeds you plant, you're going to harvest.
Yeah, everyone's human.
People will turn around and do the same thing to you, you know? And so there's got to be that little bit of respect is really what it is. Mm-hmm. You know, it's respect. You know, like, for example, Dan's our coach, you know, but if we were to go all the way up the ladder, you know, to the top of the company, I'm like, I don't want to be best friends with the person at the top because I want to be coached by them. I want to keep them in that position.
Space.
Yeah. Otherwise it doesn't benefit me to be your friend. It benefits me to be your student. Mm-hmm. You know, and so that's really where I'm very conscious and you're very conscious of, we keep ourselves in the right position. Because it's more beneficial that way. Another thing is appreciating and loving on your coach.
Yeah, you want to be the type of person that they're excited to coach.
Yeah, 100%.
That energy, right? You want to be. You want them to look forward to it, not to go, oh no, Jay's calling me.
Yeah, there's a couple in business. That sent us a gift recently. And one of the things when I messaged him and I said, thank you, their response was, we don't believe that gratitude is silent. Mm-hmm. I was like, damn, that was deep.
That's powerful. Right.
And I read it, I was like, wow, it like kind of gave me the chills, right? Because they're not on our team, right? They're in the same industry, but they're not on our team. And it was like totally unexpected and out of the blue. But he said, we don't believe gratitude is ever silent, you know, so we wanted to show thanks where it was, you know, necessary, and we believe it was appropriate. And so we don't ever show up to Dan's house empty-handed, you know. If I go to dinner with Dan, I ain't going to let him pay. And it's just about appreciating and loving on your coach. So if you have a coach, you should carry those same principles. Mm-hmm. You should know what they like, and you should know how to thank them. You know, Dan's funny because Dan will say, if you want to thank me, here's how you thank me. I want a box of 1920, 26 Padron cigars. I want them mailed to the house, you know, but he's very specific. I think being able to receive is a very powerful skill.
It makes people uncomfortable sometimes.
Yeah. I had someone one time who I thanked them, right? And I owed them a thanks. And so I had some questions for them and stuff, and they took the time to answer them. And so I thanked them, and I brought them a gift. Mm-hmm. And it was just, I learned something from this person, because this person's very good at what they do. They're at the very top of what they do. And And they took the gift and they opened it and they looked at me and you know what they said? This is appropriate. And I died when they said that because I was like, you know what? I just learned something from that. Like they know their worth where they were like, this is appropriate. Thank you. You know, versus like, oh, you didn't have to. Like in his mind, he's like, no, you're damn right. You should have, you know? And it's like that. I thought that was so badass because I was like, you know what? It's okay to know you're good and it's okay to be thanked and it's okay to receive gifts. And like, I felt good giving it to him when he gave me that response because I was like, heck yeah, I freaking nailed it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Versus, you know, everyone's like, oh, no, you didn't have to do that. It's like, he was like, no, I deserve that. Thank you.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so the last thing I'll say as we end is on how to be coached is make sure you're bringing something to the table, which not necessarily tangibly, meaning a fire, an enthusiasm.
Gratitude,
you know, just a good energy, right? Like when someone's taking time to invest into you and pour into you and coach you, even if you're paying them, they still don't have to do it. Mm-hmm. They could take your money and half-ass it. And so when someone's going out of their way to do something that really at the end of the day, they don't owe you shit, freaking at least bring a good attitude.
I think one of the most powerful ways that you can do that is letting them know how it's positively impacted you.
Yeah.
Because you don't know. When you help somebody, you're just, you know, you put goodwill out there, but you never know how it affects people. So It's nice to hear.
100%. There's nothing more discouraging to someone who gives you everything they got than a feeling of being unappreciated.
Yes.
Boom. All right.
Yeah.
And by the way, if anything in this episode you took personally and felt like it was an attack on you, maybe it was. But that's your ego. Be coachable.
I don't know what to say about that. But I do want to say thank you guys so much for watching, liking, subscribing, sharing, everything. We really appreciate it. And we are hoping that you find value out of these.
Heck yeah. Sweet. All right, y'all. We're out.